This is the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. Hi, all. Welcome back to the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. I'm your host, Shreshta, and today we have Kaushik joining us. He is a data science leader focusing on AI at scale and building digital and analytics solutions across CPG and hospitality at Latin View Analytics. In today's conversation with him, we are focusing on CPG brands, of course, and the data choices that they make for robust omnichannel efforts. So let's get started. Hey, hi Kaushik. How are you doing today?
Amazing. Shrestha, how are you doing? Good to catch up after quite some time now.
Yes, all good here. And welcome to the podcast. And it's just exciting to have you here. So, tell us a little bit about what you do at Latent View Analytics.
Absolutely. So I had the CPG practice at View. What we do is solve business problems for leading consumer brands using data and analytics. And at the moment, we are strategic partners to 4 of the top 10 CPG brands, and we work with them in the areas of RGM, innovation, supply chain, to name a few. What we've done is using our expertise and experience over the years is we are trying to build these accelerators that we call, uh, which enable our clients to not do the same or not solve the same problems from scratch. And the goal long term for us is to become a trusted partner for these brands that we work for, right? So some of the brands that you, I'm sure, use them or you have tried them in the past. So that's
Yeah.
what my role is as of now. So far, liking this.
Right. Very interesting. To what we're going to discuss today, let's get started with a broader outlook to things. What do you think are some of the common data blind spots that CPG brands encounter when executing omnichannel strategies today?
Right. No, that's a good one because this is a typical problem that we face when we kickstart most of our engagements. Because as you know, CPG brands like Unilever, PepsiCo, etc., they don't own the consumer, so they don't know a Shrestha or a Kaushik
Yeah.
for that matter, right? It's
Yeah.
the retailers who know us.
Yeah.
So, but there are different mechanisms that these companies have figured out to have a better understanding of you and me.
Yeah.
But there has always been this issue of a lot of data silos being created, be it in terms of the consumers, be it in terms of what are our likes and dislikes, which they typically get it through consumer panel studies, right, which are done by the likes of Cantors, etc. So one is the siloed channel data,
Yeah.
brick and mortar versus the e-commerce data, which is sparse in most cases. Some of these companies also have their own D2C channels.
Right.
That said, you would not see a lot of traffic coming into those channels compared to what you could probably see in a Walmart or a Amazon.coms. So they understand it. They, in spite of that, utilize some part of it and do some engineering to bring all of that to the same level. But that sort of brings another issue, which is this inconsistent measurement, right? Because uh, you would have different ways that Nielsen's or Cantors or probably your Walmarts of the world will calculate certain metrics, which might not be the way that you would calculate, right? And then there is this whole issue related to the same SKUs or categories being represented in a different way across your systems, whereas it might be represented in a different way in their systems, right? So often there is a lot of stitching that needs to be done either manually or in a programmatic way today. What we do it, we have devised various fuzzy logic matching implementation. So we basically pull this, we do this patchwork, which in the past used to be time consuming and was prone to a lot of errors. But now with the use of advanced analytics, we are able to sort of bridge that gap a little bit, right?
Okay.
So that is definitely happening. But apart from that, the uh, the more important thing that a lot of senior leadership across these companies are looking to solve for is how do we make use of all the underutilized data sources, right? So
Right.
there was one exercise where we do a typical discovery. We figured out that about 60 to 70% of the data, enterprise data that resides within the organization goes unutilized in terms of
Very true.
analytics, right?
Yeah.
So different functions don't talk to each other. So there is consumer ratings reviews, there is, let's say, shipments data, which can all feed into different type of analysis that individual teams take up.
Right.
But unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way today. So our role is also to sort of let different teams know that there are these sources that are accessible, and we are already using some of that to inform, let's say, the next line of product, or maybe figure out uh, what's the best route to be taken when it needs to be transferred from a distribution center to a retailer. So we, because of us working with multiple source systems, we are then able to better inform our clients on what they should be using, right? So that is what I feel needs to be bridged. And at the moment, I think companies are already realizing it, and they're taking the steps in the right direction.
Makes so much of sense. In a recent conversation with one of the brands that we work with, one thing that stood out to me is that a legacy brand, a legacy CPG brand who's already a market leader, are often looking into understanding the consumption patterns with the younger generations and tailoring their efforts for a more broader audience that way. But the challenges of a more recent, upcoming, or new players are entirely different. They're like very niche specific or trying to solve very specific consumer problems. So, in what ways do you think forward looking or thinking CPG brands are sort of redefining the customer segmentation beyond the traditional demographic models?
I mean, this is a very important aspect that you've discussed.
Yeah.
So when I was in my B school, I was taught that there were four types of
Right.
consumer segment, right? So there is a demographic way, there is a geographic way, behavioral and psychographic. Historically, companies have relied on a demographic and a geographic split.
Mhm.
The example that you took probably falls under the demographic split.
Mhm.
Uh, but what happens when we know these consumers very closely is that uh, it's their lifestyle choices or their behaviors that essentially drive their purchase decisions towards a specific brand, right? And using analytics now, you could understand those patterns, you could understand those behavioral segments, those needs based segments, and then you could go deeper into those segments also to identify something called as micro segments now,
Oh,
right? So
yes.
so that is how companies are trying to think about it. So contextual micro segments is what they want to figure out. Like, for example, I'll just give you maybe a couple of examples, right? So Gen Z is looked at differently right now. There are different brands who are just targeting Gen Z, but then that crowd is at the moment classified just with demographics, age, right? Gen
Yeah.
Z because of age. But
Yeah.
that's unfortunately not just the segment, right? So when you think
Mhm.
about the segment, you'll have to think about urban Gen Z, who are professionals right now entering their workforce, uh, who are looking to buy organic snacks.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm.
That's the micro segment. And then there are companies who are only targeting that.
Yes.
And if you see the kind of messages that they would put up on their marketing campaigns will all cater to that, right? So you think about creating, or first of all, targeting that segment, figuring out what sort of segmentation you do, segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and then think about the marketing messages and other aids that you have, visuals as well, to cater to that particular segment, right? So
Yes.
that's how a lot of forward-looking companies are working on at the moment. Uh, and this is possible because, though I started off in your first question saying that companies, our traditional CPG companies, don't own a lot of first party data. That said, they are doing a lot of things to acquire a bit of that, right? So,
Definitely, yeah.
be it with the D2C channel or maybe partnering with some data providers, they are kind of trying to make use of that first party data and using AI and analytics now. They are able to blend, let's say, survey data with social media, with a little bit of web analytics, loyalty data, etc.,
Yeah.
to create these psychographics behaviors and stuff like that. So that is how companies are trying to do this, and the goal of, at the end of the day, is personalization.
Oh, yes.
But it's still a little far away. That said, you will see some campaigns in which companies are trying to bring a little bit of that, right? So, for example, if you happen to be in a cosmetic store, there are companies who are trying to figure out your skin tone and figure out what kind of texture you have, etc., etc. There are devices which will scan your skin and then put up that foundation right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So L'Oreal does it at the
Yes.
moment. So that's the goal, and companies are actually trying to do that at scale. They are a little behind, but it's happening nevertheless. Yeah.
Very interesting. Let's talk a little bit about shopper marketing. It's evolving so rapidly, and it's at the moment kind of confused with retail media networks. How do
Yeah.
you distinguish between the two, and what's your definition of shopper marketing today?
Uh, so shopper marketing as a concept has been in existence for quite some time, right? And shopper marketing essentially helps a consumer or somebody who's just browsing products, in a retail store, and turns it into a shopper, essentially a person who converts that, right? So uh, now that could happen through multiple mechanisms. It could be because of anything that influences a consumer to purchase that product on the shop,
Yeah.
on the shop. Yeah. So it could be some eye-catching displays. It could be some on-shelf promotions. It could be packaging designs. It could be maybe placing the product at the end of the aisles, etc., etc. Right?
Yeah.
Now, retail media is one form of that. Retail media is when the same consumer goes to a Walmart.com or an Amazon.com, and you essentially influence his or her decision by placing display ads and placing specific ads on whether the person is looking for a detergent or a person is looking for a specific foundation or a personal care item. And because of you placing that ad right in front of him or her, it's more attributable. You can measure whether the person, uh, whether a buyer essentially ended up uh, purchasing that product, right? So that is where it sort of it's one of the strategies, I would say, for shopper marketing, but
Yeah.
not the entirety of it. That said, when companies do have these relationships with the Walmart Connect or a Target Roundel, uh, they are now also trying to tie it with the kind of in-store advertisements that happen, right? So you have these digital banners that are installed within a Walmart or a Target as well. So they are trying to give more service as a part of this particular offering to the brands, and that's why it's trying to blur that line between brick and mortar and online. But it is definitely a fast growing digital tactic. Uh, I think if I'm not wrong, almost 20% of the media spend has already moved towards retail media. So and it will only increase, right? So that's how I think about it right now.
Got you. So where do you think these consumer ratings and reviews fall into the broader analytics ecosystem? I'm asking you this because at MetricsCart we really specialize in our rating and review analysis feature. And when brands come to us, a lot of things are new to them. That they can do trend analysis, they can do brand comparisons. They're not aware how much they can actually find insightful from these features?
Right. I mean, it's very important, right? So, for example, I mean, there are multiple use cases of ratings and reviews, but let me give you one, right?
Yeah.
So, we help a lot of brands, and these are household names,
Yeah.
to identify what would go into their product, be it a personal care product that you might be using or a snacks uh, that you might consume almost on a regular basis. What would you have in that product maybe 6 months down the line,
Right.
right? So, for example, today we are determining that Sakura
Yeah.
or cherry blossom will be inside your uh, face care product that you will see on the shelves maybe 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
Because that's happening because there are a lot of people or early adopters who are already trying out different, let's say, home-based remedies where they are trying out this as an ingredient.
Yeah.
And the other place where we could get this is all the reviews and ratings that we typically find through niche retailers, like for example, Sephora. If you
Yeah.
go to Sephora right now, you will find a lot of smaller brands
Yeah.
who are already incorporating that into their product. Now, when we do this for large Fortune 500 companies, oftentimes they are little behind, but then they have devised this mechanism or they've created these systems who keep a track of what's happening across the globe,
Yeah.
right? So maybe there are some trends that are surfacing in Europe or maybe in some parts of Africa. They want to know that, and then they would want to see if some of that is relevant in the markets that they are trying to focus on, and then accordingly create a product out of it, right? So, for example, I'll give you some examples on this. So, skincare, specifically clear skin and spotless beauty, etc. These are all trends that originate from eastern part of the world, specifically Korea, Japan, etc. Uh, uh, Anti-aging, anything around that, right? Aging related stuff within skincare originates from Japan.
Right.
Then, if you think about derma related or something which goes to a medicinal or a pharmaceutical use case around skincare itself,
Yeah.
will originate typically from Europe,
Yeah.
right? So there are companies, large brands have an eye on some of this, and then they look at products that are already there, which are just starting up,
Yeah.
and you look at those reviews ratings, and then you also try and figure this out, figure what can be our game plan there. Now the other thing that they also use these reviews and ratings is, uh, imagine they've already launched the product, and on their mind they thought that maybe this specific product gives a lot of hydration or soothing or all sorts of benefits, right? That is the intention on which they had launched the product. But post launch, uh, after analyzing their own reviews and ratings on maybe a Walmart or a Sephora, they figure out that the consumers don't really associate with those benefits with
Right.
that brand or that SKU, right? So what it helps them to do is quickly understand the pulse of the market and then figure out whether they were whether some of the benefits aren't perceived in the right way by the consumers,
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
And they can quickly make some changes on it and relaunch it. So that's the other way that companies do it. The other, if at all, it's a very, very, if it resonates well with the consumers, the marketing team also takes care of it, right? So the marketing team comes in and then probably amplifies the messages around topic. So in that way, if you have already achieved a certain degree of sales, you can further leverage your other channels to be able to amplify that message and then get it. So it has multiple use cases. We do this across marketing, across R&D, across consumer insights as well. So all of that. Yeah.
Very interesting examples, Kaushik. Uh, Talking about collaboration between brands and retailers, which is essential, and so is the alignment within internal teams. How does it play out for legacy brands? Since you mentioned earlier, also while we started that, they sort of are learning from the small brands, the trends that are catching up, the contextual aspects of it. So how does it really play out? And do you kind of think that the analytics platforms that they are associated with kind of play that big role to educate them, make them aware of these aspects?
Yeah. No, this it is important for them, right?
Yeah.
Because what good tech partners can do for them is not just bring in the necessary tech, but also help them bring in cross category, cross market insights for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, for example, when we because we have clients across categories. So if you think about CPG broadly, it would fit in food and beverages, beauty and personal care, home care and hygiene,
Yeah.
and a little bit of alcohol, tobacco, etc.
Yeah.
Uh, if you think about lifestyle choices that are made by consumers, there are different trends that are happening in there. So sustainability has been going on for maybe the last decade or so, right? So
Yes.
you already know that the individual who lives a sustainable lifestyle would sort of look at similar products across categories that he or she purchases,
Yeah.
right? At the same time, you would see other themes of lifestyles emerging, like for example, minimalism,
Oh yeah.
right? And you'd see the same person typically would wear a neutral tone color t-shirt, and the whole attire is of that kind. You'd see the kind of uh, maybe even diapers that they would want to
Yeah.
purchase for their babies would be of that kind.
Yes.
uh, then you'd see athleisure, for example, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, somebody who's into that would want to have elements of protein and supplements across the board,
Yeah.
right?
They're always
The
looking
same,
for labels.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so what we try and do is we try and bring some of these trends,
Yeah.
and we don't look at it in isolation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So uh, think about an apparel company
Mm-hmm.
who wants to create that next, or who wants to leverage the next trend out there.
Yeah.
They need to know that there are these themes that are emerging,
Yeah.
and there are these basically cohorts of people who are growing really fast,
Yeah.
and we need to cater to that cohort or that
Definitely. Yeah.
person. And that's a thing which sometimes they have mechanisms to address that quickly in house,
Yeah.
but then more often than not we've figured out that we've understood that they might not have that necessary bandwidth, as well as that mechanisms to quickly uh, understand the pulse of the market and understand how different communities and different cohorts are emerging, right? So
Yeah.
we bring in that,
Yes.
and we do that across categories, right? So for example, you might be seeing a lot of fusion, uh, global fusion in food,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you will see that uh, in for example, some of the food related trends in Mexico,
Yeah.
which could be chipotle, which could be some spicy related food.
Yeah.
That's all moving towards the eastern part of the world.
Yeah.
Similarly, some of the eastern cuisines, which could include some cuisines that we have in India,
Yeah.
would translate this side. And that's not happening just on snacks. That's
Mhm.
happening in ice creams. That's happening in maybe
Yeah.
confectionery.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you, right? So
Yeah.
when a monkeys look at this, yeah.
I think matcha is a big trend globally right now. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Matcha is a, so you'll not just see matcha in ice
Yeah.
cream, see
Yeah.
matcha in coffee, you'll
Oh
see,
yeah.
because coffee then Unilever needs to look at. There are only two large players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nestle as well as Unilever.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
For ice cream, Hagen, so General Mills to
Yeah.
Unilever needs to look at it.
Yeah.
If you think about chocolates,
Yeah.
Mondelez needs to look at it, Hershey's
Yeah.
needs to look at it. So
Yeah.
now, if they look at it only in isolation, they might miss that. But
Yeah.
then, because of us already doing that in certain companies and certain categories,
Yeah.
you can say that that's a trend across the board, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is where uh, I think this collaboration and this partnership helps.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, what we also do is we partner with some of these tech uh, providers, right? Platform providers like Databricks, like Azure of the world.
Yeah.
And they have been doing a lot of innovation
Yeah.
at their end as well. So I was at the Databricks Summit last week, and they have done quite a bit of an innovation in terms of the way the backend infrastructure needs to be set up
Yeah.
uh, to what it was probably a decade ago.
Yeah.
It is enabling a lot of let's say fast processing and real time insights, because something like the ones that we spoke of from a review standpoint, you want to know what have consumers spoken about your product category just
Yeah.
last week, right?
Oh, yes.
So that you can take that, like for example, think about uh, consumers saying that, look, the strap of your, let's say, jeans or whatever apparel
Mm.
has some bit of a defect in it. Now
Yeah.
you take that insight and then you feed into your design team and the guys who work on that product,
Yeah.
and then let them know that, look, there is something that is being identified by a
Yeah.
set of consumers. So
Yeah.
is there something that we can do to rectify all the future best batches, right?
Makes sense.
Now
Yeah.
this can be, as much as I mean, important this is, but sometimes the platform also needs to provide this, right? So that's where
Absolutely.
Databricks and some of these guys, they have their own real-time processing elements like
Yeah.
Azure has event hubs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that can enable this from a technology standpoint, from
Mm.
a business and an analytics standpoint. Us working with the internal R&D and the business teams also puts up what can be done once the underlying data is in place. So that's why these collaborative partnerships have worked in the past that I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting space. Every day we learn something new, and we
Always.
sort of, I mean, the clients teach us something new. We teach them
Yeah.
what we have been seeing. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag in that way.
Yeah. Very interesting insights, Kaushik. We've almost come to the end of this episode, and I need to ask you about the getting to repeat customers. So, in a previous episode, a guest had emphasized about how retaining repeat customers is one of the top priorities for CPG brands. And in an omni-channel setup, what are like the most effective strategies to sort of drive customer retention and repeat purchase behaviors?
I mean, as a consumer, if I think
Yeah.
of myself as a consumer, I would love if brands can personalize stuff for me, and that
Yeah.
would make me sort of repeat that purchase for them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but now as a consumer, I also know that some
Mm.
of that might not be possible because they might not know me, and in some cases, I might also feel that
Yeah.
that's way too creepy.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
the way to think about this, and
Yeah.
and the how they are thinking about this is definitely bring in a little bit of customization,
Mhm.
right? So if they are sensing that a community is growing who probably uh, let's say they are targeting a community of gym goers,
Yeah.
and they are sensing that a lot of them uh, want recipes, or they want a way to make that protein shake more convenient and ready to refill.
Yeah.
So cater to that, right?
Yes.
So that is how they will always address a specific audience, and they will make that audience loyal for them, right?
Definitely.
Then there are things like uh, recommendations, personalized recommendations. I just uh, mentioned the L'Oreal example, right? So
Yeah.
there are similar companies. What they are trying to do is they're trying to get some initial data from you
Yeah.
on the kind of skin tone that you would have and different aspects of your body type,
Yeah.
and they would recommend products
Yeah.
using AI, right? So they will suggest complementary products, like you have just bought baby diapers,
Yeah.
you might also like baby wipes, for
Yeah.
example.
Hmm.
right? So that's something that Kimberly Clark would do in that space. So this helps to increase the basket size and keep customers engaged with the brand's portfolio. Similarly, personalized offers like discounts on a customer's birthday or some kind of custom coupons based on what they have bought or they have shown interest in the past. All of this can significantly boost repeat purchases, right? So, and those are some of the mechanisms that I've seen. The other things that companies are also trying out is this whole aspect around loyalty programs. Uh, Again, CPG companies don't own a lot of consumers, but they still want to take some baby steps in creating these point-based programs and subscription clubs and stuff like that. Unilever had done something around Dove, right? So they had created a Dove community, which offers members early access to new products. So some of the things that they are trying out. PepsiCo also had done something on. I'm forgetting the name of the program, but what it was essentially doing was it was rewarding. It was giving rewards if you buy snacks and drinks together. PepsiCo has a Frito-Lay line of business, which is snacks, and then its own beverage business, right? So they were trying to reward consumers who used to buy both of them in together, right, on their website. So the industry is trying out those mechanisms, but because again lack of direct touch point with the consumers, sometimes some of these programs are a hit, other times it's a miss. But nevertheless, they are trying out this, right? So in some other categories like pet food, for example, it is easier because in pet food, there is more repeatability of the same product that you would keep buying every time. So they do bring in a lot of points, tiers, surprises to sort of keep that thing going on. But at the end of the day, if somebody has given you an exceptional customer service and you've loved that product, nothing beats that, right? So that itself sort of satisfies all sorts of retention and repeat purchases that you look up to from a brand.
Makes so much of sense. Thank you so much, Kaushik, for joining us. It was such a wonderful, rich conversation that we had, and I'm sure our audience would feel the same.
It was a pleasure, Shrestha. Thank you so much for having me here. Always great to catch up with you.
We've come to the end of the episode. If you loved what you just listened to, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Monday with a really awesome guest. Stay tuned until then.